morning, and welcome to the Universalist Church, in which love is the spirit. We are glad you are here in the sanctuary, or anywhere in the world, especially those visiting or returning after time away. I'm Sherri Englehart-Shea, one of your representatives on our Board of Trustees. If you're a visitor, we hope you'll talk with our welcome team or visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more about us. Our guest book, our online contact page, will help you get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to stay connected. We look forward to helping you become a part of the Universalist Church. Though numbers have dropped dramatically in our state, we're still dealing with colds, flu, and COVID. Masks are always welcome here. If you would like a mask, our ushers can give you one. After worship, we'll have fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. If you need help finding your way to Fisk Hall for our fellowship hour, any member of the church will be happy to guide you. Just look for someone wearing a Universalist Church name tag. You can find the link for Zoom in your weekly news or our Breeze calendar. If you aren't getting the weekly news, please sign up for it on our website. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phones silent, turn off your email, put away your keyboards, and settle in for worship.
If you have your home chalice, please light yours as we light ours here in the sanctuary. We begin today with words for the Trans Day of Visibility by Sharon Wiley. So often in religious life we speak of brokenness, but today we speak of wholeness. You, all of you, are welcome here, each and every one of you, every part of you beautiful, exactly as you are. Here, you do not need to be something more or less. You don't have to hold back. You need not hide. You don't have to exert yourself, do more, or be more. Exactly as you are, you have inherent worth and dignity. You have beauty. You have brilliance. There is nothing for you to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or to the person sitting next to you. Nothing to prove to the children or the parents or the leaders or the volunteers. You don't have to try to be more witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You, each of you, all of you, are beautiful. Every part of you beautiful exactly as you are right now. You don't have to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face. And you can if you want to. If you want to be something other than what everybody thinks you are, that is possible. That is welcome too. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you, from each and every place you come, breathtaking in your own ways. And so, as we pay attention to this Trans Day of Visibility last week, and to one another here in this place, let us worship in our wholeness together. May it be so. Our opening hymn is number 16 in the gray hymnal. Number 16. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together. Please join me in speaking the words of our affirmation, our covenant. It's printed in your order of service and in the description online. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. And I'd like to invite the Connections team to come up and offer our time for all ages today.
Should we invite the kids up first? Or? Okay. any little ones, you want to join us up front, you can come sit on the steps. Come on, join us. We have some exciting stuff to talk about today. Well, first, for those of you who don't know, we are the Connections team, and we coordinate social action projects for our children and youth. We really try to offer meaningful projects that help our children and youth feel connected to others in our local community and the country. And we really encourage our children and youth to get involved rather than giving money, but by doing hands-on activities. And you also may have bought some stuff from our bake sales. That's what helps funds all of the great work that we do. And we've also, some of the things that we do are the book drive and preschool items for Sanchez School. And Debbie is going to talk to us a little bit about Hawkwing and what we're going to be doing today.
Good morning, everybody. Hi. Talking to them. So, you guys may or may not have helped make soup before. Have you guys ever helped with the beans and make the soup? Yeah. Yeah? Do you guys know where that goes? Where do we send that soup?
The schools.
That's a good guess.
I forgot where it goes. Far away because
Farron has her.
where I did a long time.
You did a long time ago? Yeah.
I think it goes to the homeless.
They're not homeless, but they're people who live out in South Dakota. They're Native Americans, the Lakota Sioux. They live like over 1,600 miles away from us. But they're out there and they could really use our help. So we make the soup in the fall and we send it out to them. And we haven't been able to run a project in the spring for a few years with the pandemic, but we're gonna run a project that we used to do a while ago. We're gonna send some things out to the reservation that babies might need. Can you guys think of something that babies might need? What do you think?
Clothes.
Baby clothes. Oh, can we bring the clothesline forward? Look at those beautiful onesies. Those were made by people on the Connections team. And you people with your little hands are gonna come help us make some more today to send out to the babies. That's a good idea. So we're gonna give everybody a chance to make a onesie. What else do you think?
Diapers.
Diapers. Oh, can I get some people to hold up some diapers? Babies need diapers, and it's really, really hard.
Don't worry, they're clean.
So yeah, so if you have a chance to make a onesie and bring it back with some diapers, that would be really, really helpful to the people on the reservation. What else do babies need?
Things to keep them warm.
Things to keep them warm. That's right. That's right. And what?
Like blankets.
And blankies. That's right. So and we have done that in the past, but what are these? Baby wipes. You want to hold those up? The baby wipes. So those are the other things that we really, really need to send out to the reservation. They don't have enough diapers and they don't have enough wipes to keep their babies safe and warm and dry. So in addition to making a onesie, if you, the whole congregation, could pitch in and bring back some diapers and wipes, we'll be collecting them for the month of April, but you guys get a really special chance to kick off this drive. And I have a basket of onesies here that anyone in the congregation is welcome to pick one up. They're $2 and decorate it however you want. You can sew it, you can tie-dye it, you can color it with Sharpie, you can iron on, whatever you think, and bring it back with the supplies that they need out of the reservation. And then there's a truck that's gonna go all the way out to Hawkwing, all the way out to South Dakota in May. So we're hoping to pull all these things together this month and send them out to the reservation. So I'm really grateful to you guys coming to help us get started. Okay? All right, so if you want to help us carry all this stuff, we are gonna, you got that? Thank you.
It's not that
You're doing bells? Okay.
because I'm very strong.
All right. You are strong. All right.
Yeah, I'll help you. You carry those. Terrific. Okay, let's come around this way.
Yes. You can go this way.
Right through there.
Thank you.
What's your name?
All right, let's go ahead. We're starting a little late with As We Leave This Friendly Place, but it's good for us to make sure we know it. So, number 414 in the back of the gray hymnal. As we leave this friendly place, love give rise to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return. And there were still a couple of kids. Nicely done, everybody. Our voluntary offering, the sharing of our resources for our shared work as a religious community, is a spiritual practice for us. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us serve our members, friends, and those beyond our walls and our doors, too. And so as part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that do work in the world that bring us ever closer to creating beloved community. The Interreligious Eco-Justice Network is Connecticut's only faith-based environmental nonprofit. The mission of the Interreligious Eco-Justice Network, or IREJN, is to inspire and equip Connecticut's religious communities and their spiritual allies to protect our planet through education, engagement, and advocacy. Our congregation has formed a strong partnership with IREJN. In 2022, we hosted a couple of webinars together, and this year we were chosen by the organization as one of 25 faith communities in Connecticut that will receive mentoring to promote and publicize our energy efficiency campaign. Together with other churches and synagogues, other congregations of all kinds, the Universalist Church will be promoting an energy campaign that will bring energy efficiency and cost savings to thousands of homes in Connecticut while reducing greenhouse gases too. You can contribute electronically by using the QR codes on your order of service. You can use the links in the description online or those on our website to make your donation to our offering. And here in the sanctuary, our offering will now be gratefully received. may these gifts, so generously given, sustain the work that we do together, the life of this community, and make a difference in the world of which we are most certainly a part. Thank you. Thank you. Please rise in body or in spirit while we speak our congregational reading. It's number 440 in the back of the gray hymnal. Number 440. I'll speak the words in Roman type, and we'll all respond with the words in italics. It's called From the Fragmented World. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness. By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves. Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all. We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us. We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false. We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy. Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice. Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way. In this spirit we gather, in this spirit we pray. Let's join in singing our Doxology. Praise God for love we all may share. Praise God for beauty everywhere. Praise God for hope of good to be. Praise God for truth that makes us free. Amen. And please be seated. I didn't manage to tell you during our introduction, during the welcome to the service, that there are a couple of things happening that we want you to be aware of. So I'm going to take a moment to do that now before we begin our pastoral prayer. The first is that I want to let any of you who are visiting us know that we will have a First Sunday Visitors Coffee after the worship service. We'll be meeting in the parlor, and if you don't know where that is, I suspect if this is your first, second, or third time here, you might not. Please just come find me after the service, and I will let you know where we're going. The other thing is that we are, now that we're kind of through the worst of the pandemic, we are able to do some things that we weren't able to do for many years. So this afternoon, we are doing the Passover Seder. Many of you have signed up to come, and we're excited for that. We will also be doing next Saturday a Ramadan Iftar. And so this is something that we did a few years ago. One of our members who is living here in the U.S. and away from his family, Issam, asked if we could do an iftar so that he had people to celebrate with. And so we did that a number of years ago now, and we're bringing it back. So you'll find a sign up on the board out behind the sanctuary, and I would love it if you would join us. That is Issam and me and all the rest of us who will be there to help observe Ramadan and celebrate some time together with a meal that starts at sundown on this coming Saturday. And now I have a couple of things to share with you on behalf of the congregation. A former member of the church who moved away about 5 years ago, Laura C., has had a recurrence of metastasized breast cancer. So she welcomes our prayers, healing thoughts, and best wishes. If you are not sure who this is, of course we don't use last names since we're broadcasting throughout the world at this point. But if you would like to know who that is, please come speak with me after the service. I'll be happy to share. You can also ask Reverend Joy Christie as well if need be. And I need to share with you that Donna L's aunt, Bridie Prout Shanahan, died Friday night in Ireland. And so she has traveled to be with family for the wake and the funeral. We wish all of these people well and hold them in our hearts and prayers. Please join with me in a moment of prayer. Today we mark many, many things. It is Palm Sunday. Passover is approaching. The trans day of visibility has come and passed, and yet we still seek to be visible. In this moment, with so much going on by the calendar, but also in the world, I ask you to take a moment to turn inward. Look to discover what it is that life is about. Marking time, observing meaning. It is about birth, illness, joy, death. And that is true for us as individual people, but it's also true for ideas and choices and beliefs. All of life comes in cycles, always beginning, always ending, always giving us the opportunity to allow those things that no longer serve goodness and kindness and truth a moment to fade. An opportunity to nurture those things which give life and love, that bring us ever closer to whatever we know as sacred, holy, worthy of our honor, and so turn inward. In a world that wants nothing more than you to look at everything and not pay attention, turn inward. Discover what it is that life is about. Perhaps loving your neighbor as yourself. Loving yourself as your neighbor. Offering to others what they need. Offering to yourself what you need. May life be about compassion and kindness and love. Discovering truth in surprising places and also in the everyday. As we pay attention, may we find that what we learn allows us to create paradise every day within and among and beyond us. May we work to change this world so that no more children or youth die because of fear or malice or guns. May we live so that no more people are abused or tormented at all. So that no laws are passed to steal the rights of people to live and thrive freely. So that our earth is protected from human greed and foolishness. Turn inward. Notice what it is that is deepest within you. That which is at the edges of your awareness, calling for your attention. Pay attention to what is most meaningful. And in that spirit, let us take a time in stillness together. In this moment where we have turned inward, may we find that all of life is waiting for us. The beauty of sunlight and daffodils and crocuses. The blessing of family and friends. Those around us on this spiritual journey. May we find that in all that is so good, that we have the strength to live fully, connected to that which blesses us, so that we may also then bless the world with all of life's precious gifts, making it better each and every day for each and every one of us too. May it be so. Amen. Our first reading this morning is from Pride by Baptist minister and social critic Michael Eric Dyson. He writes, "It is remarkable how rhetorically pliable pride is, how it is linguistically and conceptually adaptable to a vast array of emotional, moral, and intellectual circumstances. There are the sorts of pride that one may experience: lost pride, wounded pride, hurt pride, restored pride, simple, foolish, lasting, injured, false, fatherly, mothers, and justifiable pride. And there are prepositional prides that dot the landscape: pride in, pride of, pride for, pride over. There are conjunctional prides: pride and joy, pride and sorrow. There are prides that show action in verbs: shining pride, beaming pride. And there are prides that speak of loss and plenitude, lack of pride, full of pride. And there are symptoms and manifestations of pride as well: the badge, mark, sign, and legacy of pride. And there are negatives as well: arrogance, vanity, hubris, and the positives: self-respect, self-esteem, dignity. This profusion of forms suggests that pride still resonates in modern cultures. Through its prisms, we can glimpse the moral force that breaks and builds persons, institutions, cultures, and nations. The notion of pride is perhaps even more ethically useful to humans the world over now that we are living again through ethnic cleansings, holocausts, civil rights revolutions, famines, struggles, wars, and all manners of terror. Our second reading is adapted from Glittering Vices by ethicist Rebecca Conondike DeYoung. Pride is a desire for status. Vainglory, a desire for recognition and acclaim. Ambition is the vice of excessively seeking the honor and respect that a good quality or accomplishment deserves. Prideful people want more than anything else to be number one. They seek greatness, superiority, even in ways that appropriately only belong to God. The vainglorious, on the other hand, do not aspire to something because it is excellent. Rather, they seek whatever will bring in the most public applause, deserved or not. Rather than wanting to be excellent, like the prideful, or to be honored for our worthiness, like the ambitious, in vainglory we seek only the manifestation of excellence. That is, we want more than anything to be well known and widely known. That the name of this vice includes the term glory is apt, for that is the end that those with this vice seek excessively. The vainglory primarily desire attention, approval, and applause, preferably, but not necessarily, heard far and wide. Both pride and vainglory involve privileging our own conception of happiness and our own power to achieve it. Both seek to make us the center of the universe. As you might have guessed, this is the last of the 7 deadly sin sermons. Today we talk about pride, and it seemed to me the perfect place to put it was with April Fool's Day, because in our pride we often find ourselves being quite foolish. And one of the things that I love in Rebecca Conondike de Young's passage is that last line. Both pride and vainglory seek to make us the center of the universe. And yet, springtime calls us out of that. Lo, the earth awakes again. It is really hard to see ourselves as the center of the universe when suddenly we are inundated with sunshine. The rain that makes the earth green again, the flowers that peek up. And yet, pride is powerful. And those of us who are caught in our pride can find ways to disregard pretty much everything else. These 2 readings are pretty dense, but there are 2 phrases that I think we're all likely to be relatively familiar with that really encapsulate it all. Pride goeth before a fall, and fools rush in. On this day, where we're paying attention to April Fools and pride, I find myself linking these 2 in my mind. And perhaps that's because I associate them both with someone moving with such speed and such confidence that they miss that step they should have seen and take a tumble down the stairs. Perhaps it's also because occasionally in my life I can identify with both of those statements. They feel so clearly like they describe the same moment in my life, where I have been moving with speed and confidence, certain that I knew what was going on, and then found myself taking a bit of a tumble. Interestingly enough, as I'd mentioned during the prayer, this is also Palm Sunday and the Sunday before Passover. And interestingly enough, these stories too speak of pride as a sin and as a need. In the story of Passover, Pharaoh is filled with the pride of birth and position. He is a god king in Egypt, understood as a sacred ruler, deserving of absolute respect and obedience, moving with speed and confidence everywhere and in every decision. But there is Moses, who knows that his people are led by God and not a god king, and Moses is willing to defy Pharaoh to serve God. The pride that elevates one above all else, to see oneself as a god king, to know that one's own motivations are the best, are the brightest, are the only to be trusted? Well, that is pride. And as the Passover story tells us, it goes before the fall. Palm Sunday shows us how the world punishes pride, even the pride of the already oppressed. So if you know the Easter story and what comes up to it, you'll remember that Jesus is welcomed into Jerusalem ahead of Good Friday and Easter by throngs of people waving palm fronds with cries of praise and welcome. And in the pride of the Hebrews for their rabbi, as an oppressed person in that society, he is seen to be mocking the rulership of the Romans. And therefore, the pride of the people in this community, the pride of the people in their rabbi, Jesus, it must be destroyed. The Romans, working together with the Pharisees, decide that this must stop. What is honored must be punished. Maybe that sounds a little familiar. Maybe they both sound a little familiar. I'm reminded of our time and place in which there are people who still seek to break down the dignity of others, to oppress them, degrade them, where people seek to see themselves as being better than everyone else, above the law, more wonderful, more famous, more beautiful. When people scrawl graffiti on houses of worship or come to them with the aims of violence, they are trying to diminish the people inside. Any threats of violence or encouragements of hatred toward others, things that result in our society all too easily in gun violence, well, these are foolish. And they often arise from the need to protect one's own sense of arrogance, a kind of desperate pride. It is a sickness of pride that is hollow, an illusion that must be protected at all costs. And those illusions result not only in violences that people take upon themselves, but also in laws that are passed that limits the rights or the existence of people based on their skin color, their orientation, their choice of creative practice, their ability, their gender, and so on. And those that make these laws and pass them are attempting to limit the fullness of humanity. They are trying to shrink people to be small, to be irrelevant, so that their own illusion of greatness can thrive. I am reminded, too, of the ways in which we often lift people up, celebrate their rise, only to tear them back down again. People in the public eye must fight to stay off of pedestals upon which they are placed, if they are not to fall to the ground in painful ways in the future. And of course, many people want those places on those pedestals to be seen as excellent or glorious or even just simply right. And all of this is the paradox that sits at the heart of pride. Because this one word represents both medicine and poison, both healing and harming. Rebecca DeYoung speaks mostly of the harm, vainglory, arrogance, the desire for greatness and superiority, to be at the center of the universe. In the earliest versions of the 7 deadly sins, pride does not actually appear in the list. This one word that holds so many ideas, both good and bad, that wasn't in there. It was actually vainglory or vanity. But it turns out that pride, that arrogance, is considered to be the root of all of the other sins. Over the time, the list has changed. We don't really use the word vainglory anymore, even though it's a great word. And so now we are stuck with the word pride, a catch-all. It means vainglory and ambition and arrogance and hubris. At its very worst, it is hubris, placing the self above and beyond everything. Ethics, boundaries, our fundamental, holy interconnectedness with the all that is. And that allows for greed and lust and gluttony and wrath and sloth and envy. When we place ourselves above all relationships, above all interconnectedness, it is easy to indulge in the rest of the deadly sins. At the same time, this word means something really important, a desire for genuine status. Pride, in the right dose, of the right kind, healthy, proper pride, is the recognition of worth and dignity for an individual or a community. Healthy pride is part of our covenant as Unitarian Universalists, in our affirmation of the worth and dignity of every person. And so there's a reason why communities that have been marginalized or oppressed speak of pride. Queer pride, trans pride, disability pride, Black pride. And then these become days of celebration and days of remembrance, sometimes days of mourning. These are a way for people to publicly remind themselves and others about their rightful place in the whole of humanity, in all of creation. This kind of pride allows people to survive, transcend the cruelties and injustices they encounter. So Michael Eric Dyson, a Baptist minister and now a professor of sociology, but previously a professor of religious and Africana studies, he knows a lot. He writes of the pride needed by all kinds of people to understand their worth and dignity, and he comes to it through the lens of growing up in Black communities. He writes, "The stakes of self-regard greatly increase when healthy pride has been systematically denied. And that's why the loving, affirming Black communities in which I was nurtured and in which told me stories and listened to my stories and encouraged me to tell them are critical to my own self-worth and self-love. Black pride, whether it concerns skin, politics, social order, culture, or our stories of overcoming, is rooted in our will to be free as possible, to love ourselves without apology or regret." There is something profound here from which all people can learn. You do not have to be Black to understand the desire to be as free as possible, to love yourselves and one another without apology or regret. If we can do that, if we can have healthy pride, self-esteem, then we're able to offer love and justice and respect to the rest of the world, rooted in something that we know for ourselves too. And if you take that just a bit too far, pride can become sinful. When we cease to love our neighbors as ourselves, when we cease to understand ourselves in right relationship to the rest of existence. If pride becomes arrogance or vainglory or hubris, then it causes us to disregard others, to set down our ethics because they don't matter anymore, to disconnect from the sacred. Something that I say relatively often, so if you've spent much time with me, you may have heard this before. Humility is the thing that tells us we must cherish ourselves as well as understand ourselves as flawed, never perfect. We are infinitely precious, each and every one of us, and we're not always right. Humility tells us that we are both dust and glory, that we are ashes and star stuff. Humility is the traditional antidote to sinful pride because it calls us to truly understand ourselves and what it means to be human. To be humble, we must acknowledge our imperfections, our vulnerability, We have to see ourselves in our rightful place in the world. Something glorious, but not vainglorious. Something imperfect, but worthwhile nonetheless. There are a lot of people these days speaking about this sort of thing. My sister recently sent me some video clips by an author and speaker named Brené Brown. You may have heard of her. She's quite popular these days. TED Talks and books, and she has been studying shame, vulnerability, and connection. I'm not going to give you all of her material right now. We would be here until 5 p.m. And I won't do it justice. She's well worth seeking out on your own. But what I find in her work is the heart of the paradox of pride. Vulnerability, this thing that feels frightening, that feels risky, takes courage and strength, and it's what actually allows for real connection. Attempting to be invulnerable disconnects us from what supports and truly strengthens us. Even if in our minds we think that invulnerability is strong, the truth is it's fragile. Invulnerability only lasts until it doesn't. And this is part of what is so terrible about pride. It makes us think that we are invulnerable until we aren't. It makes us think that everyone else is less important than they actually are, even as the prideful person diminishes themselves. This paradox is challenging, but there is a way in and a way out. Ask yourself, where can you be vulnerable? Where can you allow yourself to be humble, to understand yourself in your rightful place in the world, both dust and glory, powerful and reliant on others? Our uncertain, imperfect places are part of our worth and dignity. They are the places that need tenderness and care in order to heal. They are the places that will allow us to help one another as well. By attending to the places that are masked by our pride, we may return to right relationship. Healthy pride, the self-esteem, the self-knowledge that is part of humility, recognizes what is real and true about us. It helps us to be as free as possible to love ourselves without apology or regret, to empathize with others, to act with justice and compassion. If we embrace who we truly are with love and appreciation, we cannot be arrogant. We will know ourselves as we truly are, and in that way be able to see others as they truly are as well. All of us, dust and glory. All of us, powerful and reliant. Imagine perhaps not about yourself, but about our world. Imagine if human beings were not so threatened by difference, so determined that they, individually or as a community, were right, were the only thing that mattered. Imagine if instead we celebrated each and every one of us in our differences, in our uniqueness, in our particular beauties. In that, we would offer to one another and to ourselves healthy pride. It's actually a universalist thing that everyone and everything everyone and everything is worthy, is beloved. May you have healthy pride. May you know yourselves fully and well, dust and glory, ash and star stuff, powerful, interconnected, reliant on one another, and then bring that into the world. In this place, in our state, in our nation, we all need that healthy pride, and we need to permit it for one another. We need to make it possible for each and every and all to thrive. May it be so. Amen. Our closing hymn is number 114 in the gray hymnal. Number 114, Forward Through the Ages. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together. Let us speak together our unison benediction. It's in your order of service and the description online. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please remain for our postlude and be seated.